As I speak, I believe preparations have already been put in place to file an appeal at the appeal court in Abuja. Are you, by any means, scared by this?
Scared of what?
By the move of the PDP heading to the appeal court, because there just might be a turnaround of the verdict that you people enjoy already.
Actually, there are more serious issues confronting the country as at now, not issue of a tribunal.
Are you saying that their grievances are not serious?
No, those are not issues that should occupy our minds now. We have told them ab initio that even going to the tribunal in the first place was a waste of precious resources. If they are so rich, they should please empower Edo people. You know, the money they are paying lawyers, you know, to go and look for a mandate that was never there.
But it is their right to seek appeal.
You see, it is a right, but you have to look at the propriety of a right. You don't. Well, a lot of Edo people need help, a lot of them, and the governor has started well, you know, by reaching out to well-spirited individuals to see how we can recover Edo from the ruins that they left it, you know, in 2024. A lot of challenges here and there, security challenges, even the civil service challenges. Edo was abandoned. Edo civil service was abandoned during 8 years of Obaseki. They were using consultants to run Edo business, like a personal. Those are the issues. All these issues of going to tribunal to say they are looking for fishing for a mandate that is never there, to me, is a precious waste of time, and they should behave like good sportsmanship. The outcome of a football match may not favor you, but you have to stomach it based on what the referee has said. And in this case, my brother, we need people who are sportsmen. We don't need people who say they must get it at all costs.
But maybe because it is not yet Uhuru as far as it's concerned, because there is still room for appeal, and then, you know, perhaps eventually the Supreme Court.
If you have taken time to read that judgment, it is very sound in law, sound from the point of law. You see, you don't build something on nothing. The PDP and their legal team just they went to the tribunal thinking that they will bamboozle, you know, the justices of the tribunal. Don't forget that the judgment was a unanimous decision by the 3 justices of the tribunal. So there was no dissenting voice, there was no dissenting judgment. And so that means they were unanimous on the issues presented before them. The onus of proof is on he who alleges. They allege foul play, they allege overvoting, they allege that. And they said that the law says that they should, once they're able to present documentary evidence or oral evidence and all that, that everything will be smooth. But they were not able to do that. There was no oral evidence. The witnesses, they said they promised that they were going to bring 92 of them in their pleading. We didn't see the 92 witnesses. They only brought 19 witnesses, five of which are polling unit agents. And those are the real people who should be eyewitnesses to whatever transpired at the polling unit level. If you are complaining about the results of a polling unit level, on the one hand, in 320 polling units, on the other hand, in 765 polling units, you should be able to present people who were part and parcel of the voting process there, who were your own agents and all that. If they produced 4,519 polling agents during the election, how come they were not even able to produce just 100 polling agents when it comes to trial? So the trouble is not with APC. The trouble is with PDP. And I've said it repeatedly that PDP cannot be claiming to have won that election when they know that the party was broken into four distinct factions. You have the Philip Shaibu faction on the one hand because it was wrongfully impeached. You have the Obaseki faction, you have the Dan Obi faction, the legacy group, and you have the other old and new PDP faction. So all of these working at different purposes. There's no way they could approach that election with a unanimity of purpose. So they were scattered all over the place. They were not united. There was no homogeneity of purpose. And at the end of the day, APC were able to put themselves together and they confronted that election like one body, different from somebody who confronted the election with 4 bodies. That was why the former governor was threatening hills and brimstone, thinking that he was going to unleash his tiger and hyenas and lions on the people. But thank God the election came very peacefully, non-violent, and we were able to stay true. And don't forget, the outcome of the election at the polling unit level all have the signatures of a PDP agent. So what are they complaining about? Even in their own situation room, they endorse APC as the winner of the election with 4,963 votes.
Okay. But considering the grievances that the PDP still has and the indices, the proofs and the evidence with which they are holding on to heading to the appeal court, do you think that the APC really deserved that tribunal verdict?
We don't have any reason to begin to join issues with PDP. When they file the appeal, our lawyers will respond in like manner. That was the same thing they did. Our lawyers spoke from point of view of law, not sentiment. You have people, PDP set up a machinery room, which they call propaganda machinery. There's one Gidigba group that was churning out all kinds of fake news all over the place. Sentiments, sentiments don't work in this instance. What will help your case is if you are able to advance very cogent reasons, evidence, proof, and everything. Those who are lawyers have told us, our lawyers have told us that it is not just enough for you to plead evidence. You must also follow what the evidence says in pleading those evidence. And in this case, we didn't see the kind of evidence they were talking about because you dump beavers on the tribunal, you dump documents on the tribunal. You want the tribunal to go and help you to unlock all those beavers and tell the public this is what is there. You mentioned IRF on the one hand, on the other hand you say it's beavers. We don't know which one you were talking about. So you have to prove your case beyond reasonable doubt, and they were not able to do that. And at the end of the day, the three justices, reasoned the same way and gave a unanimous judgment to our credit. And we're very proud of that judgment because if you read it, you will see the kind of, the point of law that they raised. And at the appeal court, the appellate court, you are not going to be advancing new evidence or fresh ideas and all of that. It is what the tribunal has listened to that you are going to be raising your point of appeal, whether it is valid in law or otherwise. And so we are very much prepared to confront them and to contend with the issues that will be arising from their own appeal.
Considering what other citizens of Edo State are saying now that it's been 100 days and what they expected in 100 days of governance in Edo State has not been felt and all of that. Now, considering that you now have a favorable judgment, what do you think are the factors that, helped you and your party, regain the victory at the tribunal?
You see, my brother, those who are, if you go back to Edo State now, the level of even political tranquility and serenity is something to cheer about. Glory has returned to the traditional institution represented by the Oba of Benin. You can see happiness, you can see joy on the faces of people. And Edo is working now. Now, it is not all those braggadocio and shenanigans they were canvassing ab initio before this time, saying that they have taken Edo to the next level. I served in the Asset Verification Committee. I served in the Transition Committee. I also served in the local government committee, and we saw the level of rots. There are a lot of discoveries there. We are just waiting for time to start prosecuting the people, put some of them to EFCC and also take some of them to court.
Wouldn't that slow down, the wheel of governance? Because when you spend, the legal...
We are not spending time on that. The EFCC will spend time on that while the governor is focused. Okay. As we speak now, the governor is working so well. He is constructing a lot of roads. The schools, they told us that they have renovated, they have revamped and all of that, for which they were talking about do best, do this, do... They are all rotten, decayed infrastructure. You need to go there. We'll put some out there on TV and other audiovisual platforms, and you can see for yourself the level of rot. At this contemporary age, you see those students, pupils and all of that, sitting on bare floor to take lessons. You see leaking roofs when it is raining and all of that. So for how long are we going to be deceiving the people? So we have a governor who, who exudes a great feeling of being a governor. He is very humble. He operates at the level of subliminal humility. He's very infectious. He goes down to the people. They are accessible to him. He has emotional intelligence. So he's able to, speak to the issues. He's able to articulate the issues and tell the people that this is where we are headed. And he's doing that. Once an incident happens, you see him, appearing there and taking the rightful step. The Uromi crisis that happened, the lynching of those persons, it was not in Edo when the incident happened. very early in the morning, 4 a.m. or the following day, he set out to Uromi within 4 or 5 hours. He was already at Uromi by 8:30. 9 o'clock in the morning, and he was able to take the appropriate action. From there, he came back to Abuja, went to Kano to meet the families of those victims, met his counterpart in Kano, and was able to at least mitigate this incident, or what would have been a reprisal attack and all of that. Because investigations must be allowed to be carried out, and the findings, then the appropriate authority, the police, civil defense, and perhaps the Director of State Security will take appropriate action on their findings once the investigations are concluded. But for whatever it is worth, even if you catch a man at the point of robbery, for example, the law does not say you should take such a person's life.
Definitely. The jungle justice is not allowed anywhere.
So you have to allow them to go through the whole process. So those who are saying that they were hunters, those who are saying they were not hunters and all of that, the investigation will unravel, the story behind the story. And at the end of the day, the state authority and the federal authority will be able to take action that will help to put that issue in the board.
I was just about getting to that incident, but now that you've mentioned it, it was quite remarkable to see the reconciliatory or the condolence, whatever you call it, visit that the governor made to Kano. And it was also interesting to know that he was also raised in Kano. He speaks the language, he speaks Hausa and all of that. So he was able to connect with them. I watched it on TV, on news, and it was really heartwarming to see that, trying to broker peace and what have you. But then, is Edo really safe as we speak? Because apart from what happened in Uromi, there have been reports of herders and farmers clashing, farmers being murdered in their farms all across Edo State, from Edo North to Edo South, Edo Central, and what have you. It happens on a daily basis. Apart from that, court clashes and robberies and all kinds of insecurities. Is Edo really safe? Remember, 100 days is enough time to, of course, arrest.
Court clashes hasn't taken place.
We've had pockets of happening there.
Court clashes took place in the last days of Governor Obaseki, ex-Governor Obaseki's time.
Are you now shifting the blame?
No. Listen, because we have since enacted a law in Edo, which recommends death penalty, for cultists,
for kidnappers,
kidnappers, cultists, and their houses will be demolished. And we have demolished more than 8 of such houses.
I did see a few
of kidnappers. Right. Yes, of kidnappers. If you say you are a cultist and you are caught carrying out nefarious activities, you face the full wrath of the law. So this governor is not smiling with anybody with respect to all of these antisocial engagements and activities. The issue of herders and farmers has been a perennial problem in this country, and the governor is taking concerted efforts to nip it in the bud. And as we speak, he has distributed over 50 hiloses, as we speak, for his security task force, comprising the military, the soldiers, the DSS, and the police. And before now, police didn't have vehicles to do their security work in Edo, to even aid their mobility. They didn't. But at the 100 days of this government, he distributed over 50 hiloses. You can find out from anybody. This is not the era of propaganda. This is the era of telling Edo the truth and saying that. But again, the issue of security is a two-way traffic, both on the part of the people who are the community dwellers and also the agents of government, which are the police, civil defense, and the state security services. Once the people are able to collate intelligence information, they should channel them to the relevant security authorities so that they can take preemptive measures before some of these incidences occur. But again, kidnapping is almost becoming a way of life in this country, painfully so. Government must take decisive steps. And if you take a bold step like the step that have been taken by Edo State government by enacting a death penalty, as a law in Edo State, then we'll be getting to finding the right solution that will mitigate this kind of antisocial engagements.
You mentioned the distribution of operational vehicles and what have you and all of that. Most times what we find in this country is that when a governor distributes operational vehicles to police and security agencies like that, perhaps maybe you see 100 displayed, then you see that one is distributed, one each to one local government or one to one, all of that. After like a few months, you won't see these vehicles again. Now, a lot of people are also worried that why just distribute these vehicles? Is there a mechanism in place to monitor the activities of those who these vehicles and these apparatus are under their watch? Because after a while, you don't even get to see them again because they run them aground, and then maintenance is also an issue. So is it really effective, as it were?
First and foremost, these vehicles are brand new. They are not renovated vehicles like previous government used to do.
How can you tell if the previous government renovated the ones they distributed?
We know now. We are partner parts. We are stakeholders in the deal. There's no need to contradict that. You see, these vehicles are brand new vehicles. And it is the responsibility of the media to also beam their searchlight on government activities, including police and other security agencies. When you see a vehicle that is labeled Edo Security Task Force and is being used in an unholy way or holy manner, it is your responsibility as men of the fourth estate of the realm to inform the public of that. That is one. Secondly, you can have a near perfect situation when it comes to issues of handling vehicles or logistical issues or mobility issues. But to a large extent, I can tell you that everybody is conscious, is alerting, is aware in Edo that we need to nip insecurity in the bud. And the governor is one person who is so particular and passionate about this particular sector of the state economy. Because ever before he became governor, as even an ordinary citizen, he has been contributing to vigilante activities in his Edo Central axis, buying vehicles and also helping the people, to ensure that they are able to contend with issues of insecurity, particularly kidnapping in that axis. Now that there's an upscale, the present initiative is going to effectively tackle this. And because aside from even taking action, visiting us, he also suspended the head of this Edo Security Network organization. Suspended him, suspended another person, and is already informing them that he's not going to tolerate some level of complacency, in the way and manner they contend with the job of securing Edo. Insecurity is a responsibility for all citizens. We are also calling on Edo citizens to be vigilant. If they sense any unholy movement around their locality, they should report such incidents, such movements to the relevant security agencies so that appropriate action will be taken to nip some of these crises in the bud before they happen. Because to be proactive is better than to be reactive. And this governor must be commended for taking the right step, applying wisdom, and also ensuring that he's able to mitigate what will have been a reprisal attack on that Uromi incident with the way and manner he applied native intelligence to contend with it. No matter the status of those persons who were killed, only the security agencies will be able to tell us whether they were actual kidnappers, whether they were actually hunters who were coming from somewhere, and whatever was found with them, ding gun, pump action, AK-47, they will also render explanation because some of them were not killed.
All right. Has anyone been prosecuted by the law that was enacted yet? Because one thing is to demolish the buildings suspected to be owned by people engaged in kidnapping and cult activities.
Some of them are already on
because it is really not supposed to be rocket science to prosecute those.
Some of them are undergo prosecution, but don't forget that our prosecution process is also very cumbersome.
Which is why I say it shouldn't be rocket science.
No, there is slow administration of justice. You see, we have to continue our advocacy to ensure that we hasten up trials and prosecution so that we can give courts can give the appropriate verdict at every point in time to suit the nature of crime being committed. But I can assure you that both the judiciary and the political class in Edo State and even the legislature, we are all in agreement that Edo must move forward and we must do the right thing using the appropriate instruments of law in doing that.
We hear that the vigilante group in the state have been barred, or rather, they've been suspended from carrying weapons for now, considering what happened in Uromi. Is that true? And if that is true, there are two categories of vigilante. The Edo Security Corps is well organized, well structured. They work hand in hand with the police in the state.
But there were those who were relieved of their responsibilities from that Edo Security Corps because we needed to do an overhaul. Those ones were part and parcel of the previous government, and their certain arms and ammunition still with them. They have not been able to surrender some of those ammunitions to mop them up and all of that. So they are likely to be going to be using all of that to commit crimes in the state. Don't forget that even prior to the election, the security aide of the governor, Inspector Akko, was killed in cold blood. Until date, we efforts to even arrest those persons who we felt were part and parcel of the process of that murder. It has not yielded fruits. The people have run away from the state. At times they come, follow their own VIPs to attend events and all of that. But the governor has said that no matter how long it takes, they cannot run away from the full wrath of law, and they will be apprehended at the appropriate time and they will be prosecuted in the state, no matter how long they run. Because when you commit a crime of that nature, magnitude murder, the time does not, it doesn't lapse. It doesn't lapse with time, so to speak.
Now, considering all of these happening in Edo State under the watch of the new governor, it's a new government, of course. Now, is the PDP therefore justified if they say citizens of Edo State can't go to bed with their two eyes closed? Because this is quite a lot. This is their allegation, definitely.
I think they are just trying to be clever by half. And you see, we have gone beyond all of these.
But you know, everything we have reeled out
please,
is close to the truth.
Let us be very practical. PDP presided over the state. The former governor Obaseki ran the state 8 years. We know the record of performance. It's very abysmal. You know, they were more or less interested in acquisition and crass materialism than facing the real business of governance. And so even those who talked about technocrats in government and all of that, we saw how Edo State was privatized, you know, run like a private enterprise, using consultants on everywhere, creating agencies that ought to be just mere committees. They turn them to agencies just to pillage the resources of Edo State. Our collective patrimony suffered a great deal in the hands of the previous government. So when they come out now to say that they can't sleep with two eyes closed, we are saying that they should also do an introspection. They should look inwards to themselves, that they are part and parcel of the present crisis of insecurity in the state, because the people, the thugs, they armed with guns and munitions, they have not surrendered those guns and all that, and a lot of them are on the run. If they are each time you want to apprehend them, you see them crying, shouting that we are doing political witch hunt and all of that. And so we are not going to be bothered by their lamentations. Lamentation is suitable for them because rather than play critical, all-inclusive opposition as an integral part of democratic process, they are fond of lamentation and raising dust where there is none. All I'm saying is that the governor is very focused, very resilient, very determined to ensure that security of life and property in Edo is secured.
But rather than, accusing PDP of, complaining and crying for what have you, government is a continuum, no matter what anybody says. So is it not possible for your government to just ignore if you think whatever the PDP is saying is just immaterial and focus, on arresting the situation, whether they left it behind or not?
You think PDP is distracting us? We are not even aware of their noise. That's why I call it lamentations. You see, you can't stop a child who is being flogged, from crying or from lamenting. Our focus is how to deliver on our mandate to Edo people. We picked 5 critical aspects, critical sectors of the Edo economy: agriculture, security, health, education, and food availability. And all of these areas are receiving very holistic attention as we speak. You are not going to get, almost on the spot results. Some of them have to go through gestation period, ensure that those policies are being followed by the people, that the people buy into your policy in the implementation stage, so that the fruits, when they begin to manifest, everybody will see it. Like agriculture now, we are giving out lands for quite a number of people to ensure that there's movement back to land. We also, this aspect of security, it has improved, different from what it used to be. All these pockets of crisis you are seeing here and there.
I was just going to mention that because when you mentioned investment in agriculture, I was going to say, okay, how many people have
our farmers are back to the farm.
There
are just pockets of crisis here and there which we are taking decisive action, steps to nip in the bud. That you can't take it away. The aspect of education, we are rebuilding quite a number of schools as we speak. Quite a few of them have been completed. The same school they were saying, Edo best. We were all Edo was. Rotten schools, decayed infrastructure and all that. We are building roads. Even the first flyover in Edo State is going to come on stream in another 12 months.
How many is it?
We are going to do like 3, but one has been flagged up and it's already the process. The building is already, the construction is ongoing and all of that. Quite a number of things are going on. The governor is very busy, even carrying out on the spot, assessment and supervision. So we are not going to. The government is just starting, but again, they have started well. You can see a governor that is focused. You can see a governor who has the love of the people at heart. You can see a governor who has restored the sanctity of the traditional institution in the state. Just 2 days ago, they had a reception for him in Edo Central. You see the number and the quality of traditional rulers that visited, that participated and all of that.
The same Edo Central where the massacre,
the
incident happened.
Yes, at Ewato, there was a big event on Saturday and Sunday, just yesterday, in that place. So, different from what the reports are, I think life is much, much better than what it used to be in Edo State today.
All right. I'm very interested about the economy, which you almost delved into earlier, but I would like you to talk about it a little bit more. Edo is known for production of palm oil, or rather, they are known for the cultivation of palm fruits.
Yeah.
You see it? But almost very little is known about palm oil, especially, and other palm produce coming from there. I do know that a lot of people may not agree with this, but I do know that Malaysia actually took seedlings of palm oil, palm fruits, from Edo State, Benin City precisely, and they are one of the largest producers of palm oil in the world today. So isn't there a way that the economy of Edo State can be boosted? You also have energy. Edo is in the Niger Delta region. And production, job creation shouldn't be an issue anymore, because to create more jobs, you need, first and foremost, power, stable power. But power in Edo State is not really that stable. So isn't that on the table of the government?
I don't know where you are getting your information, but
I lived in Edo State for some
but
time.
the Edo of today, you lived during Obaseki.
That wasn't during Obaseki.
No, yes.
No, let's not go there. But
no, but it's the truth, because the Edo of today, we have opened up our flanks to quite a number of, well-spirited individuals who want to invest in the state, because there are people who have come to showcase what they can do in the area of solar energy, renewable energy, and what have you. All they need is good land allocation so that they can get it. If you see what the previous government did in terms of even land allocation to farmers and what have you, you will marvel. In Edo, you talk about palm produce. We have NIFO, which is, essentially owned by federal government. You have Okomu oil, you have Presco oil. All of these oil, despite the resources or the support that the CBN gave to Edo in terms of monetary support, we couldn't see the quality of investment that will help empower Edo people. Some of these persons who participated in the previous government, decided to buy shares in all of these companies through the back door. During our investigation of our assets and all of that, we saw how they appropriated Edo lands, 170 acres, and when you ask them, what did you pay to Edo government, they are neither here nor there. So there was quite a lot of wastages. So in order to recover the state and put it on the line of proper governance structure, we need to take certain decisive steps, which we are already taking, like the lands that were appropriated from people, for which they give 50,000 naira CFO to over 50,000 plots of land. We have since recovered all of that, and we are doing due diligence, looking at all of the details. And we discovered that quite a number of the appointees of government were also beneficiaries, free of charge. They were just appropriating lands to themselves.
In other words, they're revoking them.
Of course, we are good. We have started revoking some. We will still revoke more. because if the process is not right, then we have to listen. Look at Auchi area.
All right.
People were encroaching into government reservation area in Auchi. We had to arrest that drift.
Right.
So the government is doing quite a number of things.
Say.
But when a state is rotting, to get it back on the side of credible governance will take some time.
Kassim Afegbua, APC Chieftain and former Commissioner for Information, Edo State. Thank you very much for joining us on the program
It's a pleasure.
tonight.